Okay. Cold one.
Cold one.
Okay, just that's all setting up nicely. Yeah, we're live.
Live?
Live.
Sweet.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the live stream. My name is Matt Bailey. You're tuned in with myself and Matt Wooler from Drown Nation. We're having a chat. We're having a Friday night drinks. So you're welcome to jump in this live anytime as well yourself. The link is in the description for the video. If you can't find it, say, how do I get in? And click the link. I'll post it again.
Don't share it on Twitter.
Yeah, don't share it on Twitter. They would really appreciate that if you don't share the link on Twitter. I mean that. That'd be really great if you don't, because we had that happen a few weeks back, and the link got spammed, and so there's all these spam bots entering the trying to get into the channel. One of them accidentally got in, shouted some words, and then got booted. That's all they're there to do, is to jump in, cause a bit of chaos, and then get booted. Fine. Look, that's going to happen. But let's not fall down that trap too many times. Darren Howie's joining us. Darren, good to see you again. Here we go.
All trouble.
Scott Fitzsimon says, woohoo, Friday night vodka tasting with Bailey again. Yes, it's a vodka tasting. That's obviously what we're going to do, because vodka is what we're about, right? Sure.
Matt, how are you?
Darren,
Good.
to see you.
Good.
Nice to see you, gentlemen. Sorry I missed you guys last week. We had a very important barbecue instructional evening on last Friday. So I was out giving Kamado Joe cooking lessons on how to cook steaks and ribs.
No, you're all good. Yeah, steak lessons or
just like how to use the Kamado Joe, which is it's a pretty cool barbecue. So it's good for we like American ribs and pulled pork and stuff like that. So you can
Nice.
really good long cooks on it. So it's excellent. How are you guys? All good?
All good.
all good here. Yeah. I think David Putty's just connecting at the moment. There he is. Good to see you, mate.
Dave?
Thanks very much.
Welcome. This is. I think this is the first Friday I've seen you in here. This is great.
Yeah, actually, I joined last week.
I know. You're a new member. This is fantastic. I was about to say, welcome aboard, by the way.
Thank you very much.
God, jumping in. There you go.
Yeah, first week in and already in the Friday live.
I was watching the videos, and it just inspired me to join.
Oh, that's very cool.
Awesome.
That's very cool. Yeah. Well, welcome. Like I said, welcome on both levels. What are we drinking tonight? Let's start there, because that's what's most important.
Well, this is the Blantons I opened last night, so I'm going to continue drinking that.
Aaron, you scored one of those?
Yes, mate. It's a cracker, hey?
Oh, it's probably the most tropical fruit whiskey I've had in years, and I mean like proper like melon and grapefruit and everything. Yeah. I don't know how to describe it.
It's you're right. It fits in so well up here. It's like it just blends in with the whole environment. So yeah, so it's become a favorite. I think we've got about a third of the way through it so far. So we put a bit of a dent in it.
Yeah. So you got that fairly recently, though.
Yeah, I think that was only 2 or 3 months.
Here
ago,
he
mate.
is.
Steve Sasquatch Oates has arrived. A pleasure as always.
No hat, no turban this week.
No.
And no turban and
And
That's outstanding.
the snacks are in the oven.
Oh, nice. I just had a really nice curry, made a really nice curry. So it's I'm pretty full, but maybe a little bit of apple pie later. Oh.
Let's see what happens.
You're the master of curries, though. You're always eating curry.
Damn straight.
Rock and roll.
Don't deny me a curry.
David, what's in your glass?
Yes.
I'm going an Isla.
Okay, why is this not?
Oh, very nice. Which one is that? I can't see the label on that one.
It's single cast exclusives.
Yeah.
What's going on here?
They no longer exist, as far as I know.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I picked up last bottings in Perth.
Yeah, that was run by the label itself was run by David Stirk, who's an old colleague of mine, and lovely guy. And I don't know what he's doing these days. I haven't caught up with him in ages, but Yeah, he was involved in independent bottlings for a long time and created.
Yep. Testing. Yep.
Murray, we can hear you. It's fine.
Yeah, he's
Okay,
just
sorry.
talking to himself.
Just making sure, plugging everything in. I've got a new mic, so
Testing. 1, 2, 1, 2. Yes, we got you.
Two.
Two.
Murray, good to see you, mate.
Good to see you too, guys.
Looks like you're in the library again.
Yeah, I'm back in the library.
Yeah, good stuff. I've been reshuffling some of my whiskey literature around a bit as well.
Very good.
Yeah, and I'm going to start filtering some of the schlock.
There is some schlock out there, isn't there?
There absolutely is, and unfortunately, I own some of it. I'm not going to name which book they are, but there's some pretty terrible ones out there.
There are some awful bloody books out there.
Steve, what are you dramming on? What's going on?
I'm drinking a rum.
Ooh.
You are forgiven.
From Bristol Classic Rum. It's a Long Pond from 2002.
Yeah, right.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, very cool.
So it's a little bit funky.
Yeah.
Lots of pineapples and bananas, overripe bananas and things like that. It's only 43%, so it's not too not too chaotic.
Won't knock you around too much.
No. Accompanied by a
Filter.
filter XVA.
You work for Filter, don't you? Are you a filter? This was going on here. You're always drinking Filter.
I know. That's what happens when you buy a box of it.
I have an excuse. I can say I work for the society. You're not even going to admit to it, are you? You're just going to say, "Oh, yeah, I work for Filter."
You know, it's not a carton; it's a box. How many cartons are in your box? Pallet. That's what happens when you buy a pallet.
Just have a pallet loaded straight to the front.
Cheers, anyway.
Yeah, cheers, guys.
Yes.
Very cool.
So, how about the Ben Riak rebrand? Woof.
No, Ben Romack.
Ben Romack.
Yeah. Wrong Ben.
Sorry.
Ben something.
It's an interesting discussion. It is. It's like, I think I commented on one of the Facebook groups of it. It was like, I think it's actually a really, I think it's a sharp update for two reasons. One is because I think the current branding is terrible. I've always thought that. In fact, I'll openly admit, 5-6 years ago, I was doing some work for Alba, and I was representing Ben Romack. So I took those bottles around with me a little bit, and it was like, I always thought the chicken font, as I call it, chicken scratching font on the front, always looked a bit sort of like naff and a bit sort of like.
It looked like chicken poo. There's like chicken poo all over the front. Absolutely.
Yeah. When birds sit.
Yeah.
When birds sit on the mirror of your car, the rear view mirror of your car.
Yeah.
Shit down the side of the car when they're looking at themselves. That's kind of what it looked like.
So they do that whilst they're looking at themselves. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Can we just clarify that I think you have a bit more ornithology to explain here?
No, I've actually seen it happen. They fly and attack themselves in the mirror, then they sit on it, and they do their shit down the side of the car. Because
I think it's another bird, right? Yeah.
Yeah, we've got some peewees here that do that. God damn them.
Mr. Akers, Dr. Akers.
How are we doing?
Good to see you.
Mate, how are you?
Very well. Slange. Happy Friday.
Slange indeed.
Happy Fridays to you all, by the way. Yeah.
Well, what's going on with the light show in the background there?
Just my office. I got the lights off, so it picks up a bit more.
Yeah,
Except the pretty lights for your face.
Sprung.
As I said, I got a face for radio, so you know. Plus, I was in a rush last night to jump on with Bailey, and I only got like a couple of things set up. It's a disaster in here, but I just left it set up from last night. So
Fair enough.
So there's more lights to come yet, mate.
Yeah, I can sort some out for you if you like. It can happen.
Please get a strobe light.
Whiskey and strobes.
Whiskey and seizures is probably more the case.
Whiskey and seizures.
And a pile of books on lighting on the ground as well.
We're approaching peak pairings here, like peak.
Yeah, I think at that point it is.
Sorry, let me just go back to the topic of the branding. There's two things I want to mention about Ben Romack as a branding exercise. and this isn't a Ben Romack thing. This is like there's two things that happen every time whiskey rebrands. One is that 95% of people on social media and everywhere else will say, "Oh, I preferred the old brand." So it's always going to be sort of that people dislike change to begin with. They don't want change. Change is hard, and change is challenging, and it's kind of annoying. So it's like people don't like change, so therefore, I always like the old stuff. And the second thing that is almost guaranteed is that most people wrongly think that means that the spirit is going to change as well. And it's sort of like this this sort of theory that like, oh, I like the juice in the old bottles better. It's like, no, it's the same. It's the same.
Is this the sort of feedback you're getting from?
I've never heard anyone say that, but
oh no, yeah, I think I see it quite often. That whole sort of like, it's like, oh yeah, no, the older bottles tasted better. Huh?
The lovely psychological trick, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, they were better back in the day.
This is what
Do you get that with
the
society stuff, though?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, Muzz.
Sorry, mate.
seeing as there's just been a new facelift on the society bottles.
again,
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. Look, yeah, we do
just
get a
talking
little bit.
about your inbox.
Yeah. Sorry, one sec. Yeah, no, we do get a little bit of that at the society. That sort of people like, oh, I preferred the previous label design, and I mean, it was actually mostly positive to the slight refresh that it's just had.
it's better.
Yeah, it is better, and I know you like that from a design standpoint. You're quite clued in with this stuff, but I mean, I like the fact that it's just a little bit more transparent than it was before. A bit more sort of like for if it's had a finish, if it's had a re-rack, if it's had an additional
I
maturation.
like the fact that it doesn't have a stripe going through the bottle numbers or the
Yeah,
bottle code.
yeah. Oh, no, I'll agree with that.
Yeah.
A lot cleaner.
Any of the whiskeys
clean
are
design.
It's
spicy.
also more eye-catching in the bar situation as well.
Well, try and tell me what whiskey that is.
Right.
You see what I mean? It's like it's the spicy and sweet stripe goes straight through the dark purple goes through the black.
Yeah.
And so it was sort of a bit of a nightmare on certain colors with the black, but now it doesn't. Now it sits in the same place the whole time as well. It doesn't move across the bottle. I think it looks smart, but nothing's changed in terms of like the attention to detail on tasting panel keeps going up, but the actual sort of spirit hasn't actually, well, in our case, it's a bit different because it's always different single casks. But for core range bottlers, it's like there's always that perception that, oh, the older stuff tasted better. Oh, I miss the older brand. It's because
That said, Matt, on society bottlings, the heresy bottlings, all have beautiful designs on those labels. Like, extraordinary attention's paid to a lot of that stuff.
Yeah,
and that's
little throwbacks in there as well. I love the heresies because there's so much. There's actually even like little throwbacks and little sort of historical stuff within the label, and
you can stare at the label for a while and go, "Oh yeah, I've seen that sort of thing before," and that was on an unfiltered or an outturn.
Yeah,
the artwork has sort of links back to things. So
yeah.
Not that I spend all my time staring at
design.
Well.
No, the monogram logo is way better as well. I think.
Yeah. The new monogram.
It's added a whole level of class to it.
Yeah, it does look good.
We do know that the bottles are just for looking at, not opening, right?
Yeah, for collecting only.
For some people, that is totally true.
Yeah. Look, I mean, yeah. I've talked about this before, but I love that discussion. It's like there's three types of whiskey people, in my opinion, broadly speaking. You've got whiskey drinkers, whiskey collectors, and whiskey flippers, and I have no problem with the first two. It's simple as that. Like it's like if you buy bottles to drink and enjoy, fantastic. If you buy bottles because you want to build a collection and you want to open them at special occasions and whatever, and you're like, this one's for my 30th, this one's for my 40th, this one's for my wedding, whatever kind of thing, that's also fine. But like people who buy with the express intent to flip, I don't have any time for that. I think it's disingenuous at best. It's a
relatively new category of people too.
Historically speaking, it's actually it is. Historically, it's quite new. I mean, this isn't like whiskey collecting was not really a thing. I mean, those interviews that you see of certain collectors who started collecting in like the 1980s, and it's like there's two people on Earth, and they've both been interviewed by Forbes and CNN twice now.
Yeah.
Like, oh, well, you collected whiskey. Why would you do that? No one else was doing that. It's like collecting sort of rare porcelain dolls or something.
Well, that's why I've still got so many of my original Star Wars figures from the 70s still in their packets, because my mother just told me, you should keep some of those. So I did. and even getting right up until like about 95, 98, just before the next movie started coming out, you could still pick up Star Wars figures completely in their packets, wrapped up for like $12 a piece, $14. Now it's impossible to find, but the market has also now been flooded with so much more that collecting really isn't the same thing anymore. It's like, it's not like a rarity. There's like 50,000 of the same thing floating around. It's
how would you ever get a full collection now either?
Yeah, exactly.
There's always one new thing coming out.
Yeah.
Sounds just totally. Like McKellen.
We're all going to skid around it, but yeah.
I can just mute myself at this point.
Highland Park's a lot the same. They've got so many versions of things. Just
funny that.
I think you know what though. It's funny you say that about Highland Park. I think it comes down to a lot of approach in the approach of how it's handled and how it's managed. If you look at if you look at 2001 to 2008 Brooke Laddie era, and Steve, you know this one very well as well.
Exactly.
As we call it, the Heinz era of Laddie, where there was 57 different versions of their whiskey being released, and it was sort of that amazing sort of like oddity of sort of time and space where people didn't seem to mind that there was so many different Laddies. Whereas now it's a bit more sort of like Highland Park released 60,000 different versions of a 40% chill filtered.
Yeah, I think the distinction is that Brooke Laddie did it out of necessity, whereas Edrington are doing it because they can.
Yeah,
maybe.
Yeah. Scott, I'm just going to rename you. I'm going to rename you from Ann to Scott Mansfield, just so everyone knows who you are. Sorry, there we go.
Yeah, that's the wife.
yeah, I figured. I was just like, just in case people look at you and maybe assume the wrong gender or something, you know.
These days.
Rob, you dropped out. You're all good. You're all good.
Yeah, sorry, NBN. It's, you know.
Yeah.
I love it when someone's video turns off or they drop out for a second, suddenly the whole screen moves around and it's like everyone's just moved couch position slightly. Like
a big Rubik's Cube. It's like a Rubik's Cube and everyone's moving around the screen.
Where's the vacant space?
Yeah. We can fit 9 in the cube here, so if one more person joins, then we're at 9. But if we're at 10, then it's like musical chairs. Someone's going to get booted if they lose their camera. That's it. See you later.
With the Brady Bunch.
Yeah, Brady Bunch. Oh.
Darren, you're Alice, the housekeeper.
Oh, thanks for that. I should have brought my broom along. I've got a broom outside. It's okay. Lots of pans. I'll be right in business.
So much sass. It's only 7:45. Oh wow!
Let the
game come here for the bats. It's fine.
Yeah. Alex Dallenberg says in the comment section, we've talked about flipping, Matt Bailey. We have. We've talked about flipping before. Yeah. That's true. And Alex Lalos says Bunnahabhain 12 is a great example of the older bottlings tasting better. Yeah, but I think it is. Well, I mean, I do agree with him on that. I mean, the Bunnahabhain 12-year-old used to be 40%. And the new version is 46.3. So you just automatically assume, the nice higher proof version is going to be a better version of the spirit. I don't think in this case it was. I think actually the older one was actually, it was only because it was a much higher sherry proportion. And I just speak of the devil. I literally just said her name and she appears. By the way, I'm going to make a public congratulations to you, Alex, on your promotion.
Big congratulations.
That's awesome.
Hi.
Hi.
How are we all tonight?
Yeah, good. How are you?
Oh, good.
Well, my new job doesn't allow me to be in service, so I have a
Hey.
Friday night off.
Outstanding work.
Crack Jack Mini.
Jack Mini, night off. You're sorted. You're in your element.
Emergency supply.
It's cracking out the emergency supply. Break glass.
Well, I was outside and I saw Matt Bailey talking about flipping, and I thought I'd have to jump in and say,
okay, you need to express your take on this. Go for it.
We've discussed this over and over again. Sometimes
Well,
you get bottles that tend to grow in value when you consider selling. Like it's happened quite a few times for myself, and I have a bottle at home that hell could go quite a fair way into a house deposit for me, and don't think that I'm not thinking about flipping it.
When you bought that, Alex, were you intending to drink it at some point, or were you intending to flip it?
It was a gift for me, so I didn't buy it.
Yeah.
Which probably makes it worse, but. It's definitely a bottle that I'm thinking of selling very soon. I always thought that, to be special for a certain occasion. But that certain occasion probably won't happen, and I can actually just buy a house with it myself. So, yeah, that's my thoughts. So I think
Sounds like a good use of a gift, that.
Is a whole different story of flipping from like, just like with everything, there's two sides to most.
No. I don't disagree with you. In fact, I would go so far to say my take on that would be if you bought a bottle, maybe I won't use the example of gifting because that complicates it further. But if you bought a bottle from a distillery that you bought at a distillery or you bought from a retail or wherever, and then you loved that distillery when you bought it, and over the years you sort of didn't care so much for that distillery anymore. And your palate changes over time, as we all know. And so maybe you go, oh, well, that's not something I'm going to really enjoy anyway. So, yes, I understand there might be an example where it makes sense that you don't want it anymore.
Yeah. It's like my Starwood PX cask 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
I've got them sitting there. And I did buy the third one when I found it and sourced the first one just so I could have all 3. Yeah. Not going to open them. But I'd sit on them, and if, again, they ended up in a huge sort of collectibles, I'd consider selling as well. So
yeah.
Did not have them to sell them, but that's just my take, and I think everyone's got a different story. Yes, I know there are some people that buy it and sit on it and then sell it later on. I know that. But I think everyone's got a little bit of a different story with it, and it's one of those things, it's like drink it any way you like.
That's true. Drink it any way you like and enjoy it however you want. For me, I've got a few, but one you reminded me with Starwood. One of the first, I have a bottle of the first ever Starwood single cask that they did, which was the Doublewood #1, which was devised by Brooke and Ben and a few others over there.
Yeah.
And it's like bottle 1 of 62 or something. Like, yeah, it's kind of cool. It's like, but I definitely I have a personal connection to that bottle, so I definitely want to open it at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, completely understand that.
Yeah.
Yes.
So things like that. Actually, there's a question from Alex Lowes here that asks, now I'm just intrigued what that bottle is that Alex has.
It is a 2016 sherry cask from Yamazaki.
Oh, very cool. Very cool.
But the kicker with it is it's signed by Mike Miyamoto in both his Eastern and Western signatures.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Yeah, you'll get some cash for that.
Will or remember this one?
You can see why I'm thinking of selling it now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Single girl trying to buy a house
gifting you that.
Yeah. Exactly. No, I was about to say, Will remember this one. He and I were both at that Hibiki launch thing, 2015, somewhere around there.
16, I think. Yeah,
16. And at the end of the tasting, there were all these, I guess, Instagrammers and whatnot who didn't really drink whiskey, and so they just left all their glasses on the tables untouched. And there were all these Yamazaki sherry cask and bourbon cask and puncheon cask samples just sitting on tables. And as soon as the tasting finished, sort of like we saw like 5 or 6 people in the room, you, me, and Ivan from World of Whiskey, and a few others just stood up and went, right, there they are, they're over there, table. Grab them. And so like there was just this mad rush.
There was so much untouched. So
much untouched whiskey. It was like, I think people took their photos of it and for their stories and went, all right, I'm done here, and then left. Was like, what a shame.
Gonna smash the shit out of that. And we did.
Yeah.
I might be late to the party with this, but Wooler, your setup is looking so dreamy right now.
It's just the lights. I tell you, it's just the lights.
Damn
The
you.
first to call it dreamy.
Dreamy.
Dreamy's a good word for it.
Just the lights.
Yeah, it's sort of distracting, Willa. Yeah, I'm not listening to what you're saying. I'm looking at the pretty lights behind you.
That's fine. You're just like a mosquito. You just get attracted to the lights. You just-
I
like
haven't had a
shiny
word
things.
to say all night. It's fine.
I like bright and shiny things.
Now, if I took a photo of this space from the other way around, you'd just go, "Oh, that looks like shit." But that's
that's
what cropping and that's what cropping and lighting does.
Design choice.
I've got a desk over here that is a nightmare. There's a desk over here that is literally like just outside of arm's reach. That is a total nightmare of just junk everywhere. So yeah, it's
Matt, you just look like your lamp has fallen over in the background, and that's it. And it's like I'm not even picking that up.
a floor lamp. It's deliberately a floor lamp.
Yeah, it's currently toasting your bottles.
The venue manager and me is hating that this light's out right now.
Yeah, it's just broken. It's just irritating. See, if you're position the camera a little bit more, rotate yourself more to your left, and then you could have like if you could have the light like behind your head, and then it'll be
like a halo.
There's rule of thirds in play as well. You'd be right.
You can spot the photographers actually in the layout.
Yeah.
The composition.
The whole rule of
it's
thirds
definitely not here.
All the ones that have to do lives regularly.
yeah.
This is where I do this.
The ring light.
Hello.
Got to have your eyes pop.
Actually, I've got oh man, next week I've got a black light as well. I'll wear white and I'll put on the black light, and then
Why do you? No, stop.
You got to do the nail polish too if you do that.
Yeah.
I think Alex is on the same wavelength as I am on this.
Yeah, there could be spots on the
don't use
walls
that
and
black
stuff
light.
like that. Just stay away from the black light.
Don't worry about the black light. You can do without that one. That's fine.
What the hell's on the wall? What's on the roof?
Yeah, no, let's leave that one. Yeah.
What's on your forehead?
Yikes.
I'm glad I joined with that.
He just
It's
brought
all
it
down
down.
like
Turns
Yeah,
up and brings the tone down. Yeah.
Well.
Love it. Oh, dear.
What's everyone drinking?
Oh, Blanton's.
Rum.
Blanton's
Just
on
opened
Boddington's.
my Society 35 from the
Beach
festival
Company.
release.
Oh,
No,
you're
the
ridiculous.
Decadence.
How do you like it?
It's good.
Give it a bit of time.
Really do
and
like it.
One, it's
got to open up a bit.
yeah.
It is
Alluring
lovely.
fruit and
I've got
spices,
to
very
have an
nice.
open 35.
Always an open 35. Yeah.
Always know. Rob, I've got to say, your bottle kills have been rather outstanding over the last couple of months.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a time.
Yeah.
That's one word for it.
They weren't all fresh bottles at the start of Rona, I must say, but it's been a good excuse to sit home and kill some things off.
Why not? Why not indeed?
That's
I'm
what
on
trying to
not
do
sure.
with so many open bottles. It's just-
Andalusian gazpacho.
Ah,
Ooh.
you and Rob both got a bottle of that.
Yep.
Yeah. It's been it's about half done, so
Yeah, mine's about half done now. Yeah.
I don't think I can do too much of it in one hit though. I tried doing
No.
3 and it was like, ooh, yeah.
The spicy notes jump up on you there, as well as the ABV, I think.
Yeah, it punches.
So much so, Rob, that the dram you sent me
Still got
is
some
still
left.
half full.
There
So
you
that's
go.
getting enjoyed.
I got given a sample today. Hang on, I'm going to go get it.
Get that sample.
I've got another one here that I'm just going to let air out. It's a Bailey, you've seen this before. It's a 12-year-old one of the Lagavulin releases, 2014.
Oh, yeah. Right.
Nice.
So
Actually, I think I have a 14 or a 15. The only reason I've still got it is because that was the last time I got one.
yeah.
Well, I haven't really caught up with those releases.
No,
Although they're all great. I mean, there's some great stuff in their annual special run. I like to sort of see which closed distillery they're going to push to the front this year. Kind of game.
That's an interesting lucky dip of the Diageo releases.
Yeah. Oh, well, they played the Port Ellen fiddle for a long time, and then put a bit of a spotlight on Brewer, and then it was Convalmore for a while, and then it was and now they got another one. What was it? I can't remember. Pitivake, yeah, Pitivake, or however you say that one.
Which is pitiful.
Correct.
I haven't yet. I've tried 3 of them now, and they've all been bloody ordinary. There's a reason why they closed the damn thing.
Yeah,
there's something wrong with it. That's what.
I think 3 data points is enough of a series.
That works for me, right?
Yeah. 5 is better, but I think 3 you can draw a trend line. Yeah,
I can triangulate.
Yeah.
Alex, what was that sample you pulled out?
It says 19-year-old Ardbeg.
Ooh.
Oh, Trevon, very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I really rate that Trevon. It was fantastic. It was and you can still get it as well. It's like it's not too bad. Like you can pick it up places.
Yes.
Yeah.
Got allocated Angel's Envy today, which is super exciting for 2 of our bars in Sydney.
Lovely.
Oh, very nice.
That'll be on our back bar very soon. It's only going into allocation on premise. It's not going into retail yet.
Nope.
So you'll have to visit a lovely bar to get into that. It's beautiful stuff.
Make a ripper cocktail with that.
Yeah, they've price pointed towards that. So
yeah, cool. And what's and you guys? It's Nick and Nora's Melbourne. Is that one of the most recent ones?
Super exciting. 2nd of July. It is opening up to public. It's kind of been sitting there ready to go for 8 weeks or so. So exciting we're finally going to get it open.
And that's in the city, isn't it?
80 Collins Street.
Yeah.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, right.
Very cool. I thought when I heard that it was going to be Nick and Nora's Melbourne, I thought, is it going to be like Frankston, or is it going to be like Lilyfield, or is it going to be sort of like a bit like sort of the Parramatta model of this one in Sydney? And sort of, is it going to be sort of, and it wasn't. I was like, okay, I remember hearing it was going to be in town. That's cool.
We got kind of an amazing sort of spot for it. So
I think I know that. Yeah, I know where 80 Collins is. Yeah.
It's a new development. Seeker's going into the building. So it was kind of like you can't say no to this.
Seek.
Sorry?
What's going in there? Sorry?
Sepia?
Oh, right. Sorry.
Am I pronouncing that correctly? I hope I am. Apologies. I'm really bad at pronunciation sometimes.
No, I thought you said seek, as in like seek.
Seek.com?
Yeah. I thought you'd have a pretty good clientele of customers then, because there's going to be a lot of people.
Probably have Collins Street offices.
Yeah.
Probably do.
It's just as sexy as Parramatta.
Oh, yeah.
It's Greg's new baby, and he's in there working all the gadgets and having so much fun. It's like he's got a kid in a candy store out there.
Yeah.
I'm super excited to get that open.
Yeah, that's exciting.
So, yes. And all the venues are open again, which is great. So.
Yeah, that's very cool.
Yeah, so get out and start drinking, guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
Favorite venues, some love.
The head out your favorites.
Yeah.
Scott, you're on the Beachcomber, you said.
Yep.
And you've got a, speaking of venues and people and stuff, you're working with a venue in Brisbane, aren't you?
Yeah, we've got a dinner coming up on August 21st. We had a bit of thought about what are we going to do. We've got to have something a little bit uplifting, and I'm a bit out of coronavirus puns, so I thought, well, what year is it? What are we doing? We're going to do something a bit positive, so we're going to get into the swing. We're going to do a bit of a 20s thing.
Yeah, right. Yes,
so I'm looking for the Spotify list.
Yeah. There's a few.
And I think we might have a little bit of prescribed medicine.
Of course.
1920s of the Scottish type. So, we're going to be opening up at the Brisbane Club. So it's going to be a dinner. They always do an absolutely cracking pairing.
Yeah, and I love the Brisbane Club. Like top venue.
Going to be fun.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And you were working with, before all this Corona stuff, you were working with Blackbird Bar a bit as well, weren't you?
Oh, stunning venue. I mean, we can see wonderful. If you go in the bar, there's 150-degree window vista just looking out to the Story Bridge and that sort of western aspect of the CBD and the river meandering through. So it's a fantastic venue. Lots of it's really central to the financial district. So great venue. So we're really hitting our straps here. We've got some really good partners we're working with.
I just realised there's actually 2 Queenslanders in the stream. Darren's here as well, and I would call you. I don't know if it's fair to call you a Queenslander, Darren. You now live
another
in
20
Queensland.
years. Another 20 years, I'll be a Queenslander.
Is it fair to call anyone a Queenslander?
Yeah, right now I don't think you want to be called a Queenslander, but anyway, I'll leave that one well and truly alone.
I just want to see who's trying to join in, and if it's a person or a
dodgy
or a screaming. Oh, here it is, Adrian. Okay, all good. Phew. Okay. There's so many. No, you get all these spam bots, and they sometimes either just have iPhone or single first name trying to join in. Adrian, good to see you. Happy Fridays to you.
Yeah, good to be back.
What are you jamming on?
Mate, I thought I'd go for a bit of a bottle kill tonight. I've got the Lamingtons.
Oh, Lamingtons.
Nice.
Yes.
Very, very cool.
Hold on, what?
Triple Berry Lamington.
It was the Triple Berry Lamington cake bottling that was handpicked by Jules and Brooke over at Whiskey and Almond. They took the whole cask. That was a banger. And it's all
Might have a little bit left, Alex.
Hey, Matt, that one would go really well for our idea for the tasting.
That would go really well. Yeah, I might have one bottle, my personal one.
For chewing on like leather in a shoe or whatever.
Yeah. If we do a bottling called chewing a leather shoe, then I'll let you know immediately.
As if it's not been one already.
It totally has. Let's be honest.
That's a good question, actually, Matt. Does the society track and keep a register of all those names so they don't double up? And
there's definitely double ups.
Well, Rob sort of took the words out of my mouth. There is a log. There is a log of all the names that we've used on bottlings over the last nearly 40 years. However, there have been double ups, and it's just purely by accident because it's like, well, and the 2 that spring to mind, and there may have been more, but I know of 2. About 2 or 3 years ago, there was a 35 dot something. Actually, it was 35.151. I remember it well. It was an 8-year-old first fill French oak. That was lovely. That was called Curiosity Dram. And then there was a 36 dot something like a year later called Curiosity Dram. I was like, they named it the same thing. And then more recently, last year we had a 135.14.15, something like that, which was a heated 135, which I always enjoy. And that was called Back to the Suture. And then the face shield 53 dot something
Back to the Suture.
Called Back to Suture. So yes, there have been some. Unfortunately, there have been a couple of double ups. But
somebody crossed the time streams.
Yeah, well, one was produced this year. One was produced in 1984. There you go. I even got the year right. How about that? That's a pop culture reference. There you go.
Because these things are tracked doesn't mean anyone
85.
checks before they name it.
Yeah.
Fickle.
Should have been bottled in 2015.
There's some questionable names, Bailey.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So I'm just looking up on my phone. When I was in Edinburgh and we went to the Scotch Malt Whiskey member.
The Vaults.
The Vaults. We went there.
Yeah.
The one that I found that I picked up and put on my Instagram is the Chewer Dram Seeks Tart.
Yeah. That's not the most problematic one I've heard of.
Yeah, that's probably the second. That's probably the second or third most problematic name we've put on a bottle. Look, that's not exactly a very desirable name. I get that. Yeah.
What is 205?
I have that bottle, Scott.
That is the best tasting notes ever.
Oh, yes.
What?
Backing a duck.
Do I do a recitation? Okay.
Please do a reading.
Cask 30.94. Riding a duck bareback up Mount Etna. We stood at the foot of the volcano, a towering eminence of tightly packed fruit cake and sticky toffee pudding, and gazed up towards the bellowing clouds of pork crackling, infused smoke. Climbing onto the back of a giant duck and gripping the leather reins, we began our ascent with the spicy smell of nutmeg, clove, and cinnamon becoming heavier as we advanced. The ground shook as figs, dates, and roasted chestnuts were blasted high in the sky, and rivers of molten toffee passed nearby. Sipping export-strength Navy rum to steady our nerves, we bravely continued further towards the summit, passing boulders of macadamia nuts, honeycomb, and salted chocolate. Drinking tip: drink whilst reading Tolkien stories to the devil.
Yeah.
Well read. Well read.
Well read. Look,
Story time at Scotty's.
The whole thing's like barebacking a duck and mature Dramseek's tart and things like that are questionable. The one that we actually got the most trouble for in terms of naming, which caused a bit of a Twitter storm, was the Welcome to Jamrock. So R6.1, which was one of our Jamaican rums, was called Welcome to Jamrock. And it caused all sorts of trouble because for two reasons. One, the word Jamrock is a registered trademark of Bob Marley's foundation.
Oh.
And the second reason is because the first line in the tasting note said, like fresh lipstick at a beauty pageant. Now, if we're talking about the smell of lipstick and that sort of acetone nail polish remover smell of acetone and lipstick in a sort of dance hall smell, there's all sorts of Twitter comments about it being an inappropriate line in a tasting note and encouraging beauty pageants or something, blah blah blah. And so it was all sort of it flew into a bit of a storm, and it was like, really, let's just
you've got one.
That's amazing.
And I've got the converse of that. We had a bottle about 7
there it is.
years.
There it is. Sorry, R7.1, not R6.1. Sorry. Yes.
Wow.
We had a bottle about 7 years ago with the tasting notes of Grandma's knickers drawer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
How drunk do you have to get to sit around and come up with these names?
How
Like,
drunk do you have to be smelling Grandma's knickers drawer?
I just want to be sitting on a panel with these guys when they come up with these names. And I mean, I have different images of the board that sits around the table and comes up with these names. I just want to be
You're
there.
imagining 14 Charlie McLeans.
That smells like my grandma's knickers drawer.
Yeah, yeah.
No, okay, look, I did a video like 2 or 3 nights ago on the tasting panel, and one of the things I said was it's a mixture of guys and girls on the panel. It's a mixture of age. It's a mixture of all sorts of things. And most of the naming is done by either Robin Lang, Charlie McLean, Angus McRail. So if you see a really wacky name on a bottle, it's probably Angus and Ewan Campbell. So, I mean, a few people do, and Madeline. So there's a few people that name these bottlings and they come up with wacky names for them. And
It's amazing.
oh, it's a bit mental, I know, and it's a bit sort of like
fun.
It's just got it. You can't take it too seriously. That's the whole.
Fun.
Yeah, it's just a bit of fun.
I will say I was lucky enough to be on a panel 6 years ago. Andrew Durbridge got me on a panel when I was over in Scotland, and we sat in a very small room at the Queen Street building, and there was no ventilation. We drank an awful lot of whiskey, and then they decided to name stuff.
Yeah.
So it's just a small room filled with whiskey vapor.
Yeah. That I think explains some of those names, definitely.
And if you want to know why some of the peated whiskey has even wackier naming than the non-peated,
It's the end of the day.
at the end of the day, that's what they finish with. They finish with the peated stock. So some of the peated casks come across as like, why would you call it that?
Yeah.
Probably because they were bonging it at the time as well.
I thought, Matt, you were saying how hard it is to get onto panel and how there's all these stringent tests. It turns out you just got to ask AD.
Yeah.
And you just make a call.
I was in Scotland at the time, and it was 6 years ago, in
This
fairness.
was 6 years ago. A lot has changed. A lot has changed.
Just turn up. Oh, don't you know who I am?
Yeah, I just turn up and say, I know Andrew Durbidge. On your own panel, it's great.
Well, Matt, we rocked up and said we know Matt Bailey.
And they didn't turn you away. That's amazing.
Gave you sympathy drams, yeah.
Sympathy drams.
Yeah, condolence drams.
Oh dear.
That was a good day. That very good day.
No, thanks so much. It was. I'm glad that you got along, and it was awesome. I mean, I remember seeing you.
It took all of us. Like, I was over there on the time traveling with 11 other hospitality whiskey peeps on a Balvenie trip.
Yeah.
We ended up in Edinburgh, and I can't believe they took all of us in there. Like, why would you take 11 Australians into
Anywhere?
a lot of whiskey? It's like, why did they let us loose in the warehouse at Balvenie?
Yeah.
12 bartenders, and let us loose in there. It was a nightmare. It was so much fun. We ran riot.
You know what? Whilst we're on the topic of the vaults, I'm actually, if no one minds, if no one minds at all, I want to show some. I just want to show some photos, if that's okay.
Share that.
Looking at this stuff.
No, I was looking at stuff earlier. I had this up earlier, and I was like, this is kind of awesome because some of this was used at our Vault 1682 tasting last year, and so I'll just do a screen share on this. But I think it's awesome anyway. It's a bit of some history anyway, if people don't mind a bit of history.
That's sexy.
So that's a photo from a fair few years ago, but that's what the vaults looked like with the racks behind it and living cask on the front bar. It's very old school, sort of 2 beers on tap and a mineral water, and just the I love it though. That's what it looks like to me. I know it's changed a bit since then, but the design it's essentially not changed as well. It's just more colourful labels on the back bar there.
Please tell me they're solid shelves there, and they're not.
Yeah, they look like they're bowing a bit.
A little bit.
I mean, they probably are. I don't know. It's glass, but they've never broken.
Oh, glass.
Look, yes, glass, just glass. It seems to be working for this. And through those doors at the back there, of course, is the more of just heaps and heaps of stock. Of course, all the single cars back there. But I love that little nook there. It's one of my favorite bars. Of course, if you're ever in Leith. But I want to bring up I was looking through some other local history. Some of these photos, some of you have seen. There's a photo from 2006 of the very first board meeting. And you got left to right, you got Andre Tamas, you got Chris Barnes, Susie Torres, and Andrew Durbidge. Of course, the two on the right are still with us, still working at the society today, Susie and Andrew, and myself. But there's Chris and Andre on the left. And Andre only just retired, 3 months ago. And then see, this is the part that is so interesting to me. So this is obviously where our home is, but it's like 1682, built 1682, but it says there Leith's oldest warehouse, wine cellars pre-1587. So it's like, okay, so what does that mean? It's like, so it was built in 1682, but was in operation at 1587. So it doesn't really make much sense in that regard, but it kind of does at the same time. But it's the thing which was incredible is that even when you walk inside the vaults in just the staff room, there's a room where the marketing and PR team work, and there's this frieze in the wall there. And I asked one of the team, I said, "Oh, has that been dated?" And they said, "Oh, it's about 1200." It's like, oh, okay, so 1200 and something, 1230, 250. They don't know the exact year, but 1250 AD. Okay, so this is a space that's been used for wine usage. It's grapes and a jug and stuff going on here. It's a wine mural, if you like. And then again, and that one is 1432, somewhere around there, 1432, 1305. It's like it's just sitting in this room. Like we like this history doesn't happen. Anyway, I find that stuff fascinating. I don't know if you do, but it was just one of those things where I saw these just in the wall there downstairs where all the staff are. They don't give a stuff because they see it every day. If you see it every day, it's like, you take it for granted.
Amazing.
And of course, I want to bring up hopscotch sauce. One of the failed projects of the society from the 90s.
Oh, the wee jug.
Yeah, the society noggin. Bring back that word. That word needs to come back.
Yeah.
Why didn't my tasting glasses come in a silk lined box, Matt?
It's funny you say that. That's how they used to present them, right?
Yeah.
And I caught up with Jared Davies, who at the time was working for Lark, and he's a society member, and he wanted the glass set with the silk lining, and so he found one, and
Nice.
he found one in an op shop in Tasmania.
Jeez.
That's so good. But this is okay. This is part of my favorite history of the society. So this is like 2003, I think. And this is the Glenmorangie Bottling Hall, which is where we used to operate out of. So there's some Bailey Nickel Drop.
B&J.
Yeah, good drop. Well and truly discontinued, but it was a lovely whiskey, that one.
Bastards.
Total bastards. So that's the B&J bottling line right here. And this is this giant bottling hall for Glenmorangie, the group here. And then here's the society corner. So we have this one little corner of the Glenmorangie warehouse, and this lady here's wearing a Glenmorangie polo, and it's just a couple. It's just two people. And here's this young chap who I don't know who that is. I don't know either.
She's just come to borrow the tape.
She's come to pinch this tape off the society table like we don't have anything here anyway. But here, take it, sure.
She roped him into labeling stuff.
I don't know who this guy. I don't know either of them are, but I couldn't find their names. But I just applying labels to the bottles just as you go. It's just like hand labeling everything. And this is 2003 or something. It's not even that long ago, really.
The trajectory of whiskey careers is that kid's going to wind up being the cellar master of the society or something.
I'm pretty sure he's the CEO of Diageo these days. I don't know.
You beat me to it. Yeah,
he's in charge of design.
He kind of been expelled from school and taken to work with mum.
Yeah.
Take your kid to work day.
It very well could be his mum, and it's just
bringing whiskey to work to school.
Well, they're wearing the blue, so it's a little bit like the Life Aquatic. They're the interns, and they don't get a lot of rights, and they have to share the Glock. So it's sort of like,
oh dear.
I love tidbits like this, and Susie actually took that photo because she visited our warehouse in Scotland just as she started at the society, and while she was wandering around the warehouse, there's another photo, of course, of them being just hand packed into boxes, etc. It's just like that's our little corner at Glenmo. Whilst they're being packed away, she's wandering around. Susie's wandering around taking some photos, sneaking some photos of things like 1988 Highland Parks, 85 Glenfarclas, stuff like that. Just casks sitting around, right? And I love things like that. And the chalking is probably the most accurate measurement, not the heads, which the next photo will show you. When she spots a 1974 Ardbeg cask lid sitting there, it's like, no. Probably not 74 Ardbeg, although it was the Glenmo warehouse. So it very well could be. It very well could be, but it's unlikely that it is because they reuse the heads so many times. But it's still It's still like even that itself would be a piece of history these days.
Oh yeah, those things get sold on auction sites.
Oh yeah, I mean, whatever Rio stands for, and there's a Gervin there and other things. But yeah, and so yeah, I think that's cool. And then it's a bit of a blurry photo because it's a very low resolution photo, but there's one of the OG teams.
Oh,
and you might spot Andrew here, Chris Barnes here, and
Ferguson Stewart.
Yeah, Matthew Ferguson, a very young looking Matthew Ferguson Stewart, although he hasn't really aged a day, let's be honest.
And, he's a vampire too.
Yeah. And we've got Jenny and we've
Norman.
And we've got Norman Cakes.
Right. Yeah.
Far right, yeah.
Peter Johnston's off to the left.
Yes, yeah. PJ. Yes, there's PJ.
There's them.
I'm not very good with names, but look, that's. I just want to show that because I thought that was just some cool little bits of tidbits of history that I you don't often see. And look who's waiting in the waiting room whilst I was doing that. Sorry. Look, yeah. Anyway, that was just my two bits because we're talking about the vaults, and it reminded me of these photos I've been sorting out at the moment and going through. Liam.
Evening.
Evening, mate.
Have you got a dram? That's the first question we ask everyone who's joining in. Come on.
I just ate the world's spiciest food, so I'm trying to drown it with a beer, and then I'll be on a dram in a moment.
Fair call.
Yeah. I'm actually vaguely worried about my ongoing health, but we'll see how we go.
Oh, we're all worried about that.
Vaguely.
All right, gentlemen, I need to say goodnight. I just wanted to say bye and thanks for having me.
Thanks, Alex.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Alex.
Hangs that I've always wanted
Yeah,
to
yeah.
in, so
Always love the hangs.
take care, guys. Drink well.
Have a good weekend.
Bye.
Bye.
Just the dudes.
Yeah, it's a bit of a mantle now. It's
a little bit. Now I've got to adjust this lighting here because now I look gothic. Oh.
You do you. It's fine.
It took you 4 hours to set that up, though, Mus.
Yeah, 4 hours in between eating pizza and stuff, you know.
Well, you gotta have your energy, don't you?
One's got to do what one's got to do.
Speaking of Matt Ferguson Stewart, has anyone read his new blog, his new write-ups, his new site?
No.
Well, worth checking out. He just launched a new website, and so he's finished up at his previous job, which he sort of mentioned in his live with me. He said he's working on a few things at the moment, and he couldn't really divulge what it was. But one of the things he's launched is his new site, which is if you really if anyone's interested in any sort of like whiskey literature and some as Murray, I know you are, but it's well
writing it down now, man.
Yeah. Check it out. He's written some interesting things. It's all very he started with some very easy topics, which I think is a good safe way to do it. He certainly moved away from that whiskey molecules era a little bit of writing about the exact temperatures of creosoles and things like that might
opportunity missed.
Rob,
I'm sure
there's a nerd point, but yeah.
I'm sure he still is, but yeah. It's just a different setup now.
Speaking of which, the new edition is due out in a couple of months of The Science and Commerce of Whiskey, which is one of the nerdiest books you can get on whiskey.
That'd be what, third edition?
Second edition. This is a book published by the Royal Society of Chemistry. So it's basically the text used for the brewing and distilling course at whatever university. Harriet Watt.
Nice.
So
I have to get hold of that.
Yeah, I can't. It's a UK only import at the moment, so I'm trying to see if I can find more of find it locally.
I'm sure I know a few people in the RS.
You've got a dog.
I'm sure you do, Rob.
Look.
You're on camera.
Letters to join.
Come on.
Just join it and then get the free book and then ditch it.
Free book, yeah, okay.
Look at Matt Willis.
It won't be £200.
No, that's true. Very true.
If we're going to have a look at Matt Willis' screen,
it's a doggy.
It's
more interested
dog time.
in his sister right now. Where's she gone? There you go.
Who's that up there?
Better?
Who's that?
Oh,
There we go.
The dog's not interested.
Fantastic.
He's out. No one's got a dog now.
Darren, you get the spotlight now. Here we go.
Say hi, Billy.
Oh, nice.
More
Done.
dogs.
Two dogs.
Got to
as
zoom
well.
until there's dogs.
That's what we're talking about.
I'll go to the neighbours and steal a dog.
Say hi.
Sweet.
Dog theft.
Borrow,
it's like
right?
it's like the lowest crime, man. That's
That's pretty low.
Fair call. You don't want to see a cat, and I can drag a cat in here any day, but
it's a pretty low crime.
Yeah, thanks, Lou.
this sudden image of you like madly sprinting across the front lawn in the rain with a dog under your arm.
Yeah, that sounds like me.
That's quite a standard Friday.
Oh yeah. We live in strange times, right?
It's true.
Yeah, no, well, just on the topic of Matt, I was just going to say he wrote an article recently about no age statement, which is a topic that has been discussed pretty much ad nauseum in whiskey circles about, but I think one of the points he makes really interestingly about is how years ago when no age statement was starting to become a thing, it was, riled against. Everyone hated it. And it's like this is the death of the industry and blah, 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 which it wasn't. And that's kind of his point, saying that I think a lot more people now are just open to it. It's because it's become more standard fare, and we've become more used to it.
Yeah. I think NASA's made better now, though. There was a lot of things that when they were first coming out, there was a lot of like pretty, I don't know, underdeveloped profiles.
Yeah, in order to save their age statement range.
Yeah.
Murray, what do you think?
I think you're right. I think overall it's changed so that it is. There have been improvements in the NAS quality overall, but there's still a hit and miss stuff. There are still players out there trying to push NAS no age statement whiskies that are a bit ordinary, and
Your names come to mind.
Oh yeah, I could, but one won't.
Yeah,
but yeah, it has reached that point where it's a bit more mature, and there are some good no age statement bottlings. And Scott, I just saw your cat. Very cute.
Yeah, she's
there
got
we
a good
go.
name, Isla.
Isla.
Perfect name. Yeah, okay.
This is compensation for the fact that I couldn't call our second Isla, so I got to call the cat Isla.
I know someone whose cat's name's Sky, so yeah.
Awesome.
Is there someone new?
He's not saying a thing. There's silence there. He's complicit.
It's not me. No, I don't have a cat. So,
David, as a new member, I'd love to hear your input on this. As like you probably know already, the society always labels always with an age statement, and we're always like keen on transparency of what you're.
Not always.
What was that? Which one? What was that?
there was a recent one that doesn't have an age statement on it.
139.
Big black label on it.
Yes, 139s, and there's a good reason behind that. But yes, okay, yes, I'll take that.
I agree with what I think it was Murray was saying before in relation to like at the start, when non-age statements started to become a thing, there was some very sketchy is the best word I can think to describe it.
Yeah.
Product that was coming out there on the market, but in the past 2-3 years, it's just gone up 100. Well, maybe not 100%. It's a slight exaggeration, but it's gone up. It's gone up a lot in quality, and now you don't have to be afraid about buying a non-age statement and worried about what you can get.
That's very true.
There's been some recent no-age statement stuff that impressed me as well. I mean, core range stuff. I think the quality of the spirit has improved as well. I mean, I was talking to Matt Wooler about this a while back. Things like that Glen Grant, that Arbor I think is a great
Arbor
Yeah.
That's as soon as I tasted that, I was less like, this shit's really good. This is and it was like $54 a bottle. It's like, this is crazy in comparison to the prices we're paying elsewhere. It's seriously good juice, and whether it stays at that price, who knows? But at the moment, it's well worth going and buying a bottle and just enjoying it for what it is. Certainly, if you want to get a gift for someone, and scratch the whole Shivers type thing, hitting that price point, go for that, because that's going to give you that perfect balance between that no age statement and rich, juicy profiles that aren't going to be offensive to anyone. Like it really, they've done a very good job. Very impressed.
I bet we could find someone to be offended by it.
It's the internet. You can find someone who's offended by anything.
Look in the comments, Bill.
Yeah, it's funny that I'm quite intrigued by that sort of premium end of no age statement as well, because it obviously works. But things like Shivers Regal Altus is $200 something a bottle. Glenmorangie Signet, $200 something a bottle. These are examples of single malts and blended malts that have never ever disclosed an age statement, or more recently haven't in the case of Altus. But I think Signet's a great whiskey. I think it's a delicious drop. It wouldn't be something I'd regularly buy or reach for, but I think it's a lovely whiskey though.
Oh, it's a beautiful whiskey. What was that, Rob?
Lovely bottle design.
Oh yeah.
It's what we call a callback.
Yeah. It was funny. The commercial manager the commercial director, for the SMWS in the UK, his previous life, in a previous life, he was the commercial director and brand developer for Glenmorangie Group, which made sense given the society's history with Glenmorangie, that a lot of staff came across and moved across between them. And I was at his house about a year ago, and he had a bottle of Glenmorangie Signet, and he said, "Oh, this is like first batch. This is like one of the test trial batches of Signet that we worked on." And I said, "He goes, you got to try it." I was like, "Yeah, okay." And I poured it into the glass, and it was positively like red pink color.
Wow,
you don't see out of that whiskey these days. And this is like, it was a different whiskey entirely. It was much more sherried and much sweeter, and it was one that obviously hasn't become part of their core creation these days. But I love seeing pieces of history like that don't otherwise exist. And he's had that bottle for whatever it was, like 15 years since they created it.
Yeah. Well, it's an interesting one because I think there have been a few people we've known who've tried early Signet and like the pre-release and the works in progress versions, and they've all said the same sort of thing. It's very different to what the offering is now, and even when it first came out, it was just a little bit of a different bottling type, and they've tweaked it along the way. I think Dr. Bill's moved it around and shifted it just a bit to play around with it. I haven't tried it myself in that first early bottling, but or those earlier bottlings. But yeah, it's got some interesting characteristics apparently. So,
Liam, it's a bit of a different topic actually. Before I go to that, speaking of low age statements, this isn't one of the lowest we've ever done, but 133.1. I found the empty whilst cleaning out earlier today. Speakeasy, sneaky peaky. A 5-year-old. There you go.
A 5-year-old.
5-year-old single malt. There you go. And it was from
a younger one.
Yeah, it was a younger one. Yeah, absolutely. It was but given where it was from matured in Washington.
Yeah,
it was pretty matured.
Matt, we were talking about that cheetah.
Yeah, we were. We were talking about that cheetah. We were. Well,
4 years old and stunning.
Yeah, G13.1. It's also unusual for grain whiskey to be that mature young as well.
Yeah. Definitely.
But if there's one line active of Dave Broom's active casks, yeah. If there's one line of Dave Broom's, I'll absolutely agree with. And there's lots I agree with him on, but I was at a tasting of his where he said that grain whiskey is criminally underrated. It's that thing where it's, obviously most of it goes into blending, but it's criminally underrated even as a standalone. And I think we'll learn from that over years to come when people looked at malt whiskey the same way. That malt whiskey is only for just for blends.
What would you drink it?
Do you reckon in 10 or 15 or 20 years it'll be like, there's a bottle of grain, and it's, we'll look back at that bottle with the same reverence we'd look at an early single cask lager or something. It's just those don't even exist anymore.
Very possibly. Yeah, very possibly. Like we'll look at these era of grains and we had a grain just on I think it's gone now, but it was only just like a month ago. We had grain on the website. It was a 40-year-old sherried grain.
Yeah. And it sat there. Like I was waiting for that to go.
Yeah, it sat there for 2 months. It's just like 2 and a bit months. It's like if it was a 40-year-old single malt, it'd vanish. Even if it would have been 4 or 5 times the price, but it still would have vanished. But yeah, it's by the way, sorry, Steve Oates, I changed your name a while ago, just so you got it now. You got the right Oates.
Flipper.
Welcome, people.
Welcome, Irina. Good to see you.
Hey, how you going?
Good.
We're playing a board game, right? And then on this card, for my next step, it said drink. So I thought we'd open the
Sounds like a great game.
What's the game?
Do all the cards say drink?
Yeah, it's a deck of cards. Each one of them says drink.
Only. This is all my ones say drink.
Hey, Rory.
This is like the chalice of insanity or something. I can't actually show you too much because it's a legacy game, which means that the rules change every single game that you play.
Oh my God.
not let you know too much, but it's called Betrayal, and I'll just show you the bottle that we're drinking from.
I mean, drinks and board games sounds good.
Muzz, you would remember in
it's a
Calvin and
Why
Hobbes.
is the
they
bottle
played a
so
game.
far away from where you're
I
drinking?
did too, Liam. Yeah.
Calvin, is it
Really good
Calvin
question.
Ball? Where you
I think
make
it's
up a ball
Calvin
that
Ball,
goes
yeah.
along? Yeah.
I think you're
Hold
right.
on, hold on.
Jeez, that's good.
Hey, you
What
have
have we
to
got here,
show,
Irene? Go again.
show us again.
Oh, hello.
They'll just read to
Oh, nice. 1.214. Hey, everyone.
Hey.
Board games and whiskey. What a combo.
Best combo. That's how I got introduced in the beginning.
The whiskey or board games?
Both.
A bit
At the
of
same time.
a bit of talisman and whiskey goes really well.
Talisman. Wait, is that inside?
Oh my God, you don't know talisman? Oh no. Oh, you need to be
25
educated
years younger
again.
than you. They're probably 25 years younger than you. It's fine.
Probably don't even know what Thaco is.
Nah.
What?
God's
Two
so
hit
old.
armor class 0.
Yeah,
Come on, old school D&D. Where's my peeps at?
I'm out.
Wow.
I will say this though, that there has been a run on jigsaw puzzles in these COVID and Rona times,
Yes.
and jigsaw puzzles and whiskey do not go together.
No.
You cannot do jigsaw puzzles after a few drams.
That's the point. That's the point, though.
It saves you money.
What
on
do you
jigsaw
recommend,
puzzles.
Murray?
What was that, Caleb? Sorry?
It saves you money on jigsaw puzzles. You just keep going on the same jigsaw puzzle.
That's true. You'll be there for a while.
They're just trying their first sets of the 1.214 now.
Nice.
That was the Mortal of the Month, if I recall correctly. Indulge us with.
Yeah, that's right.
And Scott, to your answer, what do I recommend? A board game. Definitely a board game. Any board game. I'll go with anything. Cards Against Humanity is actually really good.
Cards Against
There are more
Humanity.
people on the Zoom call than watching on Facebook.
I think so.
Yeah, okay. Gonna go. Bye.
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 Oh, she's just gone. That's it. You're leaving?
Yeah, I'm gonna play my board game.
Yeah, just let it run.
What? Actually?
Yeah, I can mute you.
Do it.
But then I have to keep holding the phone, but then like I don't want to give
Drop
any
it
of the
against
rules
the bottle.
away.
What are you doing?
Oh yeah. No, actually, so you can get full.
Is that what society bottles are good for? They're just burn stands?
Well, I'm going.
Yeah.
Society bottles are good for all sorts of things.
Yeah.
Multi-purpose.
Right, I'm just gonna mute.
Yeah,
them.
Rob.
Purpose them as lamps when they're empty. And...
Ooh.
Well, we do know someone whose partner, wife, rolls them flat and melts them down and turns them into glass trays.
Yeah, I don't know who that could be.
Yeah. Well, they're not there. They're not here, so
They're not
I
here,
wasn't
no.
going to say.
The label would burn off doing that, though.
The logo still stays on.
Yeah, logo
Yeah,
stays
they
on.
keep
Yeah,
the
you'd have
monogram
the
logos in
label would like yeah.
There you go. Next bottle redesign, Matt. They need to enamel on the label.
Yeah,
Copy paper.
do it right.
Yeah, I like that idea. It won't be the paper label era. It'll be the enamel label
The
era.
enamel label era.
Perfect.
I love that, Steve. You're just like the Don of the group. You just sit back in that corner, nice and dark, and just observing.
The Don.
He is a government plant.
I mean, he is a government plant, so
that is a government plant.
yeah. that was
Legitimately
painful,
stolen.
That was painful by
It's
AZ
full of bugs.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't hide anything in that.
Green.
You smoked that.
Rory, good to see you, mate. I meant to say before. Sorry, good to see you, Rory.
Good to see you,
How's all going?
Yeah,
Good,
good. Another
Not too bad.
Queenslander joins us. This is great.
I was on watching on Facebook, and there was 5 people watching on Facebook, and 12 in here or something at the time, and I'm like, I think I should just join in rather than sitting and watching on Facebook.
Yeah.
Everybody just out at venues. Is that what's happening?
But is that a what?
Is everybody just at venues?
I mean,
At venues,
as long as there's only
possibly.
20 in the venue or something. Yeah.
They
Very
just treat it like a peep show. They just like to watch. Just through the window.
Yeah, I
keep saying that 20
like
cents.
OT. Yeah.
We definitely can't take that black light round to Waller's place. Definitely not.
That's called tonight. Your black light.
Yeah, don't show up the black light, man. That's just going to be wrong. All kinds
It's
of.
going to be on. It's going to happen.
I think we're
Just
good.
don't want to know is the question.
Yeah, we don't want to know.
Black
Yeah,
light
we're good.
song.
For those who missed it, Mr.
So playing at home.
Yeah, for those playing at home, yeah, I was about to say that. And we're not playing at home, no. But for those who missed it, Mr. Wooler was going to bring a black light up at the next Hangout. I don't know that that's the right thing because that'll show up all kinds of stuff.
We don't want to know.
Yeah.
Matt.
Hello.
You mentioned that society events are starting up soon with the restrictions lifting.
Yeah.
Easing.
Bit by bit.
Any idea on when the next Sydney one will be?
Well,
Or what
Andrew's,
it might be?
Andrew's working on that at the moment. We're looking. Look, there's gonna be some tentative August dates put in out turn.
Cool.
Because we don't know. That's the problem. We're in the same boat as everyone. We don't know what that looks like yet, and so it's and I mean Brisbane. Scott was saying before that the next Brisbane event is August 21.
Yep. We're going to have a 20s themed dinner.
Excellent.
Yeah, amazing.
I was going to say we could have an event in Brisbane any day with a 20-person restriction.
Exactly.
We're lucky to crack 20 people.
So.
Wait, you got to give me. I'm just opening the work calendar up. You're gonna have to give me that date again.
August 21.
Oh, yeah.
August 21.
Just have an event where we all need to bring our computers and cameras and just sit around and
So we can have an event.
stream at one table.
Yeah, we'll do a live from a real event. Yeah.
Let's do a live at a real event. Hell,
It's
why
just,
not?
It's just not going to be the same otherwise. Like it's still got to have this feel to it.
Too used to this, yeah.
We don't have a good history of going live from real events, though. Those have generally gone a bit off reservation.
Isn't that the fun of
Certain
it? Liam?
drunken idiots hijack it.
Hold on a second. Now, Liam, I know what I think you're referring to the was it Challenge the Panel night in Sydney?
There was that one. There was the Whiskey Fair. The Whiskey Fair actually from the train station was a gold one.
Yeah.
There was the Archie.
that
There
was-
was the
that was
Archie
great.
Rose Bar one. That went a bit sideways pretty quick.
That was pretty good.
There's been a few in there.
I thought we did good, Liam.
So many people reference that train station live. I did.
It worries me though that I made that vague reference and everyone has a separate example. Like, oh yeah, I remember that one that went crazy. No, completely
The
separate.
bus stop one was good.
The bus stop, bus stop on was good. Yeah. Oh no, Liam, I thought you were talking about there was an event we did in Sydney at the RSC where it was a challenge panel session where it was you write your own tasting notes on your phone and they went up on the screen at the front of the room.
Yeah.
This was like 3 years ago.
Yeah. No, that was before the lives though, right?
That was well before lives. Yeah. And there was
I didn't know about that one.
it was a tasting we did in Sydney where everyone in the room was sent a link to their phone.
That's right. I remember this.
Handle it.
And you had to like type in, you had to type in your tasting notes for each dram on each slide that came along.
And someone shared it on Twitter, and it was just
no, it wasn't so much that. It was just like people would taste like whatever, like let's say like bacon and but then it started with people writing sort of things that aren't related to tasting notes, and then it started photos of Andrew Durbage's face went up a few times, and then a photo of Corinne Masadi went up once or twice, and it was sort of like this is so we had to shut it off. But
Like anything, it needs a 10-second delay.
Yeah, it went 14-year-old Reddit user within the first 10 minutes.
Nice ref. Nice reference.
Reddit.
Any new technology.
Yes, any new technology.
Stick to books, I say, right, Muzz?
Totally. Hey, speaking of which, Rob, how is that Armagnac book?
That's quite good, actually. It's very well written. It's got an interesting spirit about it. It's
cool.
I've got it here, in fact.
Is it one written by C.E. Page?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This one here.
Yeah.
Excellent book. I love the cheeky spirit of it. It's like, the Armagnac people, they wouldn't, sully their good name by selling the stuff. You've got to come to their farm and taste it. Why would they want to make money out of it?
The entire idea of Armagnac seems to be, let's just make the stuff and see if anyone might want it.
Someone will turn up at my farm with a still and we'll just make it, and maybe sometime someone will come round. And
by the way, sorry, big shout out, Sam Licardi. Good to see you, mate. Hope you're well.
Hey, Sam.
How are you guys? Yeah, all good here. Nice and cold in Melbourne.
Yeah.
It's just cold. Yeah.
It's Melbourne.
Yeah.
I don't care how cold it is. We should still do the boat cruise.
Yeah.
Yes.
The Yarra's got its own weird environment anyway, so we'll be right.
Matt, you might be able to get the Ruby Princess cheap.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking at hosting some 5,000 people tasting. Anyone keen on joining in? Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, well, disinfected, you'll be right.
Cut price deals on Ruby Princess. I'm going to call it the Gladys Special.
Weren't you getting the Yarra Princess anyway? So it's not too different.
Yeah, not too different. Yeah.
Matt, I'm pretty sure the only money the Backstreet Boys have been making in the last 10 years has been doing those big cruises in the US, and they're probably pretty broke right now. So you could do like
saying
a
the Backstreet Boys are trapped on a cruise ship?
Backstreet Boys cruise
It would be Bailey and the Backstreet Boys.
Oh, Backstreet Boys support Bailey in the league.
Come on, you come to that. Come on,
it'll be just like a special society bottling. Something like like barebacking the Backstreet Boys, or
Cool, the name is
tasting notes.
Back.
The name is clearly Bailey's Back. All right.
Yes.
Well, you know that there's a cracking casino in Las Vegas called Bailey's. So, like, I mean, you seriously can have Bailey does the Backstreet Boys at Bailey's. It's like going to be all over.
I don't even know what to say anymore. Sure.
What's the society code for Bailey's?
Single cast Baileys.
Yeah.
MB1.
Actually, you know what? It's actually thanks to Wooler that I found out about the history of Bailey's as a drink, and it's a fascinating one, truly fascinating about the creation of that cream liqueur.
Yeah, yes, it is. Yes.
Yeah. Anyway,
Wasn't it? It's the same guys who were behind the ultra premium. I forget their name, but they bottle something like they find casks and they bottle 50-year-olds, and they're all a bunch of
last drop or something.
Yeah, Last Drop. Yeah.
No. I don't think it has anything to do with Last Drop. No,
I don't think so either. It's all myth.
Is there a Cribs Notes version, or is this we're gonna have to go Wikipedia this later?
No, there is. It was about one guy who was just determined to create this recipe for an Irish cream liqueur that didn't require refrigeration, but didn't
taste like Kilkenny.
Yeah, exactly.
You'll be able to track back in that Facebook feed of ours, probably about 1,000 messages, and you might find the link.
Yeah, I'm not going to be able to find it, but it was just one of those things. A good story.
Let's see you use the ASIO computer and pull it up for you.
Yeah, Steve, can you pull up your you pull that up? Thanks, mate. Yeah. Yeah, I knew it. Secret operative. Thanks, Steve. Cheers. I'm opening.
What are you pouring, Matt?
What have you got there?
39.174. The Shaman will see you now.
Oh, no.
Oh,
there we go.
Matt, that's a bit of a flex.
There you go.
Right, that one.
Bit of a black label release here. Just a wee smidge.
that's just a casual Friday. Sure.
Yeah.
Jumping on a black label.
There's a 28-year-old from a Sauternes Barrique.
That was a screamer, that one.
Something else, wasn't it?
Was that? Did we have that at Fair? Was that one of the ones we had?
The Fair bottlings we had the 139.4.
Yeah.
Spellbindingly Sublime, which I only had one bottle of that. And then we had there were two other black labels though at Fair.
It was a Lafroig.
Oh, there was a 29.2. It was
29 something. It was a black label, I do remember. Yeah.
All I remember about that particular 29 is that it was called Out of Left Field, and Dave Withers came up to the stand, and I respect his palate enormously.
There it is.
There it is. Oh,
Yeah.
Scott.
Nice, Scott.
Now there's a flex.
That's a real cool.
Yeah.
Segway.
Yeah, no, and
Oh shit! Here we go.
Here's trouble. Here's trouble.
And I'm bringing some fucking friends.
Oh, shoot. Oh, God.
But yeah, and Withers came up and tasted it and said it was one of the best Lafroigs he'd ever tasted, and he took one on the day. That was where it was offered up. But the good thing about that was we're able to showcase some things that otherwise you couldn't taste. Nick and Ali, Scott, good to see you. Good to see you. Have you finished your stream? Have you?
Yeah, we just finished up there because it was starting to get a little bit loose, and we sort of thought, okay, if we're going to get loose, let's do it on the society stream rather than.
Yeah, and I really appreciate that. I really appreciate you. Nick and Ali.
Distillers in the house.
As you do.
So Nick and Ali, this is like all guns blazing. There's no rules on this one. We're very polite during our one. This is just go hell for leather.
Tell us all the swear words you know. Just go. Just.
I think he called your gin tonic water earlier tonight. I think that's what.
It depends.
Oh dear.
Well, for correction, I was actually making a quip in response to a quip that Scotty made the day before, and I didn't call you a gin tonic water. I called you a gin mineral water. So that was so I apologize in advance. And
it's words like quip that means that like the young people need to come in and like bring the fun here.
Oh, have you got wrong with the word quip? It's a perfectly usable word. That's fine.
Does Matt Bailey start sweating more immediately when I come into a room?
Yes, I do actually.
Where's Crafty? He's meant to be here as well.
I think he's trying to figure out what Zoom is.
Okay, we were 10 minutes late for a reason.
Yeah, you have to make him a host, then you have to like make him make you back a host.
No, but in this case, he just needs to click on the link.
Yeah.
That is pretty hard.
So what's going on here?
Oh, just talking.
Christ. I leave for like 2 minutes.
You did well. Was you created a vacuum, and I've been sucked up into that vacuum, and I brought everyone with me.
Oh dear.
That's it. Sorry, Nick and Ali. Yes, this has basically been my last 9 weeks.
Yeah.
It's just crashing society tastings.
It's like the most social kind of like interactions I've had in like such a long time.
So,
welcome.
How do we feel about it crashing with some tequila ocho and some rum?
Yes!
Oh yeah, why not?
Cool.
There's Crafty's in the house.
Oh hell.
Oh boy.
So Matt Bailey, yes. Why does society hate Craftworks Distillery so much that it hasn't bottled a Craftworks Society bottling yet?
Hold on, let me get that on the feed. Yep, I'm just checking it out
let's
now.
get this over and done with now.
I feel the dual pronged troll coming on. It's great. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the baiting question.
NBN issues.
I think we know who's been sending the Zoom links to Twitter, Matt.
Oh man, how many people did you send it out to?
Yes.
Mate, there's more people in the Zoom chat. There's a population of Kapiti.
You're not wrong. You are not wrong.
Yeah, there you go. Bamboozled again. Thanks a lot.
The word bamboozled is the reason why we're in this room right now.
No, that's all right. I there's a reason why I allowed you to jump in. I expected it. I expected it as much. It's fine.
Do you get like people like unsubscribing memberships demanding their money back when we jump into the society rooms?
Actually, I just lost 5 members as soon as you joined in. Just then, I just saw it just happened. No.
The anti-society brigade. Mate, here at the Oak Barrel and my 2 Zoom friends here, we just know how to have fun. That's all we know. Brought me soda water and everything.
Scotty.
Whoa, slow down on the soda water. Like,
well, you were drinking tequila and soda water.
Dare me to scull the whole soda water in one go.
Well, Nick was drinking tequila and soda water at the beginning of your stream, so I just assumed.
Yep.
I think he's back on it.
Meanwhile, I'm on
he's got rid of the soda water. Sorry, Matt, go on.
Sorry, no, I was just saying I replaced my tequila with some old whiskey instead. Sorry.
I've never seen you drink tequila, Matt.
I wouldn't.
Let's make this happen.
I'm okay with beer and whiskey most of the time, but tequila.
What's T1.1?
Yeah, exactly. Coding T1.1. Yeah, it might be.
It's Jose Cuervo.
That's where you
Cuervo at car strength could be, pretty fucking good. To be fair,
could be pretty cool.
Be excellent.
Yeah.
Look, the way I put it is never say never. I mean, we've bottled gin. We've got a gin now as well, a few gins. So it's only a matter of time. I'm sure.
It's only a matter of time.
Yeah.
Can I do a shout out to Rob Akers with the disco lights? I'm loving it. My eyes, like it's the Brady Bunch. My eyes kept going back to you in my screen in the bottom corner, just like.
You know what, Scotty, you brought it up, so now I've got to ask Willa, why have you got a dance floor on your wall?
Oh, what's that?
Bring a black
Thank you
light.
very much.
I couldn't tell you what anyone said the last 30 minutes. I'm just utterly hypnotized by that.
There you go. That's awesome.
Good.
Oh, Rory, you got one of the gins there. Yeah.
We ended up getting 2 of them. You said to buy them last week. And then on the Thursday, I think it was, you said jump in and get them, and then put the order in when the outturn comes out. Oh, it was last week, the week before.
Matt says that about
lose
every
track of
public.
time. And then Susie had it dispatched before the outturn went live, and then I had to do separate shipping on the next 2. It must have been prepping for the outturn, and then the outturn didn't leave the warehouse until today for me. It's like, that's right.
Matt, you owe Rory $10.
15.
Rory, I will refund you 15 right now.
What is the new gin like?
Take it in a beer because it costs $20 in Sydney.
I've got one here. I haven't opened it either. I might open it.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of gin, but I'll probably buy it.
I think it's gone now, isn't it?
I think it's gone.
Well, there's one we just uploaded called Smoking Jacket Gin, which is
Yeah.
Oh, a new one.
Yeah.
Sam, you know Nick and Ellie, don't you?
Yes, I think we met at Junipalooza last year.
Yeah.
I think we
So,
traded bottles. It was great.
McHenry Distillery, Carry Distillery.